G'day gang. Just going to do a little bit of work on the old Chevy. Now, as you can possibly see, when I've got to do any work over in this area here, like down in the you know, towards the front of the engine, water pump and all that sort of thing, or get the radiator out, what have you, it's quite a task. And although the actual bonnet section, itself is quite easy. It comes off with a couple of they're not correct obviously, but there's a couple of screws there. There's a couple of bolts here that come off the tie bar, and then there's a couple of bolts up in here. You disconnect the stay, and that whole section will come off, which opens this all up pretty nicely, but it still leaves this big area here. Now, this is not entirely my creation, this vehicle, so I did buy this as a retirement project, and I've had it for 11 years, 10 years, something like that, and I've done bits and pieces here and there, but you know, eventually I'm going to want to get in there and, you know, mess about. And eventually, as I said, I've had this for 10 or 11 years, and eventually I'm going to need to do a water pump or whatever up the front here. And so what I'm going to try and do, or I'm not going to try and do, I'm going to do it, is I'm going to cut this out. I'm going to cut this piece out, but this is quite important because it stops. Well, you can see how much I'm telling you, it moves quite a bit. So without that, you know, this is just going to flop around like a thing that's really floppy. So here's my plan. This is quite a substantial piece of metal, as they, you know, I mean, I'm not going to go and measure it, but my plan is that if I cut this off across here, down that seam there, and across that one there, I've already taken it, like they have these stoppers are 82 years old now, and they're actually, that one's still soft, imagine that, but this fella here was buggered, and I just flicked him out of there. So my plan is cut this section off along that seam. There's a few spot welds, as you can see, and a little couple of things down there, across here, and then from the behind side put some reinforcement, weld it to the back of this, and open a hole up here, one here. The piece will come underneath, and it will yes, and it will also come down from behind to this level, and I will drill into here, and I'm going to put some cap head screws, bolts, cap Allen bolts in there, so the bonnet will close. I'll do the same here too, so they won't interfere with the top of the bonnet, and make that removable. And my plan is that I've already cut out a couple of bits, so that's going to go in underneath. Probably not that high, or maybe, I don't know. See, this is somebody else's messing about. This car's had now, the guy I bought it from was in Taree. He actually had this car with I think he said he put a small block blown Chevy in it. I think that's what he said he did with it, because he was building a little tea bucket at the time, and that's the reason he sold this, and I purchased it off him because he's already messed about with it, and he did all the hard work on it, or him and his mates did all the hard work on it. I'm just refining it. So here's another piece of the refining, I guess. But you can see where he's welded this, or somebody at some point has welded this, whether it's to get that blown, whether this might have been in the way of the blower, or I don't know. But it's quite possible that that's what the story was, but we didn't get into that business. Now, he bought it from Camden, which is not all that too far away from here, but yeah, I want to clean this all up. I've got the paint. I've still got paint here for this car. Yep, I've made one piece here. I've made one piece that will go in here. Make this little fella, he'll go in there like that, and all this is all that's going to be welded in from behind. We'll get bolt, 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 and I reckon it's about as strong as I can make it. So here I have a piece of metal which is quite hefty and quite substantial. I'm going to say it's a couple of mil. What's that? 40 thousandths, I suppose. Oh no, that's 80 thousandths, isn't it? A couple of mil. No, that's probably about, I don't know, whatever it is. I'm not going to bother about cutting it up. I'm going to trace a couple of things onto this, patterns onto this of what I want. And I'm going to give it to my buddy, and hopefully he'll chop it up, cut them out roughly enough for me with his plasma cutter. I'll get 6 of those. Fits the other side too. I believe somebody had a pizza in the place, so yeah, these will go from the inside, of course. Welded. I'm going to weld them in, and you can, like, if I'm going to do work on this radiator, it's going to be and this was a challenge to get all this sort of stuff happening, but you know, time was of an essence and things like that. So it's just going to make a lot easier when time comes. Because I said this is going to be a car to play with as I retire, and yeah. So when I get these bits back, which is probably going to be, I'll give it a week or something like that. So next week I'll get onto this, and I'll next weekend I think I'll chop this out. I'll just use the little choppy chop, cut him out. Of course I'll take the bonnet and what have you off there, and yeah, should make a big difference to being able to work on it. It all starts with a plan. I decided I'm going to have a bit more fun. I'm not going to. I'm going to cut the buggers out myself. I'm going to. I've got a few grinding wheels. I'm going to cut them out myself. Remember, the Chevy's been in the garage for, I don't know, weeks. Yeah. Anyway, I'll get myself set up. We'll cut some of these bits out, and yeah, make them pretty, make them fit up, and then we'll go on to the next stage, I guess, which will be chopping up the front of that panel. Yeah, so me, of course, decided in his ultimate wisdom to not worry about using the mate's plasma cutter, which is obviously going to be a lot quicker and a lot less noisy. But you know, I'm getting a little bit bored. I haven't really done anything over the last little bit, so Away we go. Limited on my tools here, of course. The tools will work. Let's hope that this just holds her in place. We'll be right, and I've got to trim it up later anyway. So there's some parts that loosely resemble the cardboard. Two of each. We'll take them over and have a look, eh? What do you reckon? Poor old Chevy's battery went flat. I left my GPS operating, and I haven't had this car running for a bit, so she went flat. But anyway, now keeping in mind we're going to need to bend. We're going to have to put a radius on this. Oh, that's not good for the old paintwork. We're going to have to put a radius on this, and this will go this way. Still needs to be trimmed, obviously, because we're going inside, so we're going to trim it. Probably I don't know, an eighth or something. But yeah, and that'll have a radius on him. This will get a little bendy, so that it fits in that little section, and a little manipulating, no doubt. And this might not go up so high, but you know, we've got to start somewhere and always take some off. And then that piece, which is going to be obviously quite some bit narrower, will go there, and that's all going to fit from the inside. And that's going to give me something to do. I'll have to whittle these pieces down a little bit till I get them kind of close-ish. And then I cleaned up a little bit. It's pretty cool. It's been a while since I've been out here, actually. The air's been so horrible, you just don't want to be out here. Anyway, yeah, so I'll clean these all up. I'll keep my things here because that's my templates. And I don't know, over the next week or something, I'll trim them up, and then I'll get my fire blanket out or whatever, and I'll put it up in the underneath, and I'll cut that out down there and across there. And remove that section, make all that nice. It's horrible on the underneath it, as you could probably imagine. But I'm going to body work all this. Once I get all this welded up and welded in and whatever, I'm going to body work all this, paint it all up nice. I might even take a little something out of there. As you see, it's bent up. There's actually a wire goes up through there, and it's zippy tied on, as you can see probably there. But I might even, we'll see how I feel. Might even do that. We'll see what happens. But that'll do me for today, I think. It's not that it's getting dark, but it's bloody cold, I tell you. It's probably nothing more than 22 degrees outside. It's quite chilly. But going to clean up my mess and we'll check you all later. There's a bit of a look up in the wall there. We haven't seen some of these guys around for a little bit. We used to do the stickers. Remember, once upon a time. The garage gang. Yeah. Yeah, used to swap the stickers around. Still see quite a few of you blokes. That's good. Anyway, I'm going to clean up my mess. Extension leads and what have you. And I'll check you later. Have a goodie. Cheers.